IVM.
Hi everybody, just wanted to ask everyone for a quick favor. We're running a brand survey right now and would really appreciate it if you could let us know what you think about the advertising on IVM. Go to ivmpodcast.com/survey and do let us know. As part of this, we'll be selecting 10 random participants and sending them some IVM swag, so do fill out those surveys.
Hello and welcome to the Habit Coach podcast. I am Ashdin Doctor, your habit coach. And very often we talk about money, and I feel that money is an extremely important part, especially our financial security, something that we need to be focusing on and have the right habits around that. But very often we just get so stuck up in the how should I save, what should I save, that we don't understand our relationship with money and the emotions that are associated with money. And this is why today's guest is so important for this conversation. Because when I read his book, it's called Happy Money, it completely blew my mind away because it was looking at money in such a different way altogether. And I said that I really should and have him, talk to us as an audience about the principles behind happy money and the way that he perceives money. So without further ado, I would love to welcome Ken Honda to the Habit Coach podcast. Ken, welcome to the Habit Coach podcast.
Thank you so much, Ashdin. This is my pleasure. It's such an honor. I've been so attracted to Indian culture. So this is so exciting. Thank you.
My pleasure. Your book is all about the Japanese approach to money. And I found it so interesting to understand that. And how would you think, if I say the word money, what are the thoughts that come to your mind?
So money can be so many different things to people. So for me, money is a symbol of happiness, and also money can be the symbol of greed. So whenever I feel happy, money looks like happiness for me. But when I'm in a bad mood, sometimes money can be a scary person to me.
Correct. So it has these dualistic aspects. There is a fun and happiness aspect to it, and then there is greed and scariness.
True.
What do you typically see in your culture? On where do people typically lie between these two regions?
So as any country, any culture, money can be mystery for all the people here. For happy people, money can be gentle, generous. And with money, you can do so many good things in the world. And at the same time, if you're having a difficulty making both ends meet, money can be a scary monster. So it can mean to so many different things. But I've learned from my Zen master that you can look at money as it is. It is neutral energy. It's such a transparent energy like water. It can be transformed into many things. Money is a shape shifter. So it changes according to your wish.
It's such a beautiful statement. Money is a shape shifter, changes the way that you look at it and what happens. And
yes.
Where did your relationship with money start? Was it always like this? Was it different?
So I was born and brought up in a very unique family. My father was a very successful tax accountant. So I learned everything about money since I was a small child. And even though money can be a taboo in most of my Japanese homes, I'm sure in Indian culture too, in our house, money was often a very open topic. So my father taught me everything about money, the good side and the bad side of money. So I could be financially successful from a very early age.
And, why do you think this is a case where people just don't talk about money on the dining table or at home? It's like you said, it's a taboo topic. Where does that come from?
I think it brings out so many emotions, like sexual issues. It brings out greed, and also it brings out shame and guilt. So people feel bad about talking about money and sexual issues. So I think that's why those two are still hidden under the table or under the bed. So, we feel shy when we talk about those two subjects, I guess.
And is there techniques that you have used or ways in which people should actually start talking about it? Do you think people should have these conversations with the family about money?
I think it's super important, but it brings out some kind of shyness, and also, if you're a father, you may feel embarrassed and guilt when you talk about money, because your kids always want more. Daddy, I want to buy new iPhones, I want to buy bicycles, and when they're growing older, I want to go to college. So like, there's a pressure about wanting more. But there's a certain limit in the budget. So when you try to bring out this topic to a family, you already feel like bad about it. And if you're a mother, stay-at-home mother, you feel guilty about not making money, not bringing money to the family. And so it brings out a lot of shame and guilt around money. So that's why it's difficult.
But it should be encouraged in a way.
If you did that, you feel freer. And I think your bonding is stronger, because now kids can appreciate their parents for giving so much and sacrificing so much of their time and life energy for kids. After they grow up, they might appreciate about it. But when they're younger, they complain more about not getting enough money. And instead of appreciating their parents, they feel bad about not getting the same toys that their friends have. So if you talk about money and the real numbers, that how much your father is making, you'd be shocked how hard they try to make both ends meet for you and try to save enough money for college. And I think that's worth something to appreciate for.
What a beautiful thought. If the children only knew what you were doing for them, maybe they would appreciate it more.
Yes. And I think probably you feel less pressure because now you're in the same boat. But otherwise, it's like companies and labor union. I want more raise. I can't give you any raise. So there's a war in the family if you don't talk about it.
Correct. In fact, it's so funny that you mentioned this, because in our company, one of the things we did was we opened up our accounts to anybody in the company who wanted to know about it. And as soon as we did that, it liberated everyone. He said, if you don't have money, how can you ask for an increase in a salary? If you don't have this, how can you do that? And it just liberated so much of attention that was there within the company itself. But that's from a company's perspective. This is family that we're talking about.
But I think it's the same. The more information you have, the more things you can appreciate about. So, but it takes a little courage to do that, because once you kind of let it open, you feel shy. It's almost like take off all your clothes in front of 1,000 people. Some people want to die, if you have to do it. So it's interesting. European people and American people feel more shame when they talk about how much money they make.
Yes.
It's more open in Japan, I think.
I was, as a segue, as a side topic, the first time you go to an onsen, especially as an Indian, it's very, very scary, right? Because you take off all your clothes, exactly like you're saying.
Yes.
And it's that first initial problem that you're facing, that, what will people think? And I think it's an important part of the family also to join in on that conversation and make it a safe space.
And if there is less taboo, you feel more included in the group. So I actually wrote a few books on how to raise a child with money. So I hope all the parents learn about the skills and talk about money in your home.
I think this is such an important topic. Do you mind sharing a couple of points that are off the top of your head on what parents should say to their children and teach them about money? Maybe one important point.
Yeah. So you have to teach them about budgeting. So there's like a certain limit to money, but there's no limit for greed. So you can teach them about the greed and budgeting, because the older people, when they grow up and end up going bankrupt, is that they don't have the control over their greed. So kids already know what greed is. When you get more new iPhones, you want new bikes, You want new sneakers, you want new something, iPods or whatever that is. So there is no end to wanting more. So unless you know when is enough, you'll be miserable. So those things should be taught from early age. So the more control your kids have about money, more successful they get when they grow older. So the control issue with greed is very important. And the other aspect is money is energy to make you happy. If you know that, you love making more money, you love spending money for yourself and others. But if you teach kids that money is scary by scolding them for wasting money, you feel, your kids feel like money is a scary thing. It drives everybody crazy. Look at my mom, she's going nuts. Like I spent some extra money on food, candies, and she's so scary. So, if you teach them by showing their emotions, getting angry, upset about money, you're teaching them that money is a scary subject. So if you could teach your money with your example, and also if you could, maybe the third option is if you can teach your kids that what you do can attract money instead of what you hate to attract money. Because you can make money by doing what you love. At the same time, you can make money by the work you don't like. Unfortunately, 95% of us are doing what we don't like. So if you can teach kids that you can make money, at the same time you can follow your heart, I think that is a beautiful teaching.
This raises the next point that I wanted to make, which was when you get your first job and you earn your first salary, right? And then you get into those working years of your life. How should you start approaching money then? Like what should the mindset be towards money when you first start earning it?
So in the process of financial independence, you have to have some control over money. Otherwise, you have to teach kids that money controls you. So if you have a good budgeting system, and if you start investing wisely, you can achieve your financial independence in the process of working life. But if you are not careful with money, if you don't budget it right, you end up working till you're 60 or 65 or even 70. So if you start working, I suggest you come up with a creative budgeting system. If you can budget your money very smart, you can retire very young. So just in my seminar, I talk to thousands of people all the time. And my first question is, just imagine if you have saved even 10% of what you earned in your entire life, don't you think you're happier? And then it's like, oh, yeah, but I didn't, So just imagine, if you just saved even 5% of all the money you made in your lifetime, you're already fairly wealthy. But you didn't because you didn't know how to budget.
This budgeting is the crux of whatever you do when your income comes in, whenever money comes in.
Right. Especially when you don't make enough, when you're not making enough money. That is budgeting is necessary. If you're a millionaire, you don't need to budget because you can buy whatever you want. But if you have making like $1,000 or $2,000 a month, you have to pay the rent and all the other things. It's going back to buying new iPhones and iPods. There's no end, and there's always a demand to want more. So if you're just controlled by your greed and wanting more, you cannot spend money wisely. So you end up working long hours. The more raise you get, the more money you spend. The higher salary you get, your rent is more expensive. Your cars are more expensive. You go to more expensive restaurants. You buy more fancy clothes. You may buy the second home or the third home, and you stay broke. So you cannot achieve financial independence. So you have to really know what money is. And if you could teach kids as a parent, I think that is the very beautiful gift you can give to your children.
The gift of understanding money. We're going to take a quick break. See you on the other side.
Hey everybody, it's been a great week on the IVM Podcast Network. On a show about crypto, Rohan Joshi asked the question, what is an altcoin, to Akshay Agarwal? Tune in to find out. Did you know consuming pornography in the privacy of your home is constitutional, but sending sleazy messages to other people is not? On The Longest Constitution, Priya shares some facts about explicit material. On FinTalks, Pratik Mehta, co-founder of Scriptbox and Upwardly, talks to Akhil Handa about selling Upwardly to Scriptbox. On AudioGyan, Kedar and Abhineet ask Vandana Abraham, design head at Altasian, about her experience working at MNCs. And on Yuddha, Anirudh and Aditya talk about Babur's finest hour at the First Battle of Panipat. Do follow us on social media. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And remember, if you're enjoying this show or any of the shows on the IVM network for that matter, please do tell a friend. We really appreciate that. And finally, I'd like to thank the sponsors on the network this week, Ciet Cred, Banco Baroda, Quarter, and CoinSwitch Kuber. We really do appreciate the support.
Welcome back. Let's jump into the conversation. You know, when you were talking about this, it suddenly struck a chord saying that there are people who, even though they grow in life, are still always broke. And there are people who are currently listening to this who probably are thinking, I'm completely broke. I have no money right now. Mm-hmm. How would you, what are like the 2-3 things you would tell them on how to get out of this hole that they've created for themselves?
So first of all, you have a perfect control over your financial health. So just think about it. If you're overweight and if you're out of shape, it's your fault. It's like you ate too much and didn't do enough exercises. You cannot blame your wife. My wife feeds me so well. That's why I'm fat. You can't make excuses like that. You ate too much ice cream. You ate whatever. That's why you're fat. Financial mess is the same thing. If you're in a financial mess, or if you don't have enough assets, it's because you didn't manage it right. If you manage it right, you will be financially well off by the age 40. And if you don't have enough, or if you still worry about money, something was very wrong with your life. You didn't really deal with it. So I recommend people to face money issues. So that is the first step. And after that, how far do you want to go and how fast is another question.
Okay. And are there, just like how there are principles around budgeting, are there principles around earning money as well, on how you can do to maximize your earning, the inflow?
Yes. So I have written more than 20 books on how to find your gifts and how to monetize them. There are so many creative ways to find your gifts and improve your gifts. If you are sharing what you do now and do it well, people are happy to pay you. Like if you're good at speaking, good at listening, good at cooking, good at counseling, consulting, coaching, you get paid. So you have to find what you're good at and do it so well that so people will pay you. Or your company is going to give you a raise. And those gifts are hidden inside you. And you don't notice it unless you put a light to it. That means unless you use it, you don't know that you have a gift. Like myself, I never knew I could write until I was 33. I never wrote, and at the age of 33, I wrote something, and I was surprised that I could keep writing for 8 hours. And my friends loved it. That's why I started sending out faxes. Though at that time, there were no emails. And people loved it. And I made pamphlets of my writings, and people loved it. And I printed them more. And by the time I gave away a lot of copies, a publisher called me, and I became an author. So now I have written so many books, so people think I'm talented. But 20 years ago, I did not know I could write. My sister didn't know. My brother was so surprised. My parents were so shocked that I became a writer, because there's no way my relatives didn't know it. All the great friends didn't know I could write. And I was the one that I was surprised. So there must be some gifts in you that could surprise you, but it will not emerge unless you use it. You may be super good at selling, but you would never know if you didn't sell anything. And many people don't sell anything in their life. That's why they cannot discover their gifts.
So powerful. The gift is inside you. The gift already exists. It's just that you have to discover it and shine a torch on it and start going from there. In fact,
Yes.
Ken, this gets me to a point that I really wanted to ask you, which was, what is your writing habit? Right? I know it's a little off the topic but like I've seen you've written over, how many books have you written over this
About
time?
200 books.
200 books, right?
Uh-huh.
What is your writing habit? When do you start writing, and is it something that you structure every day?
I write all the time. Like my question to you, Ash, is like, actually, when do you breathe?
Correct.
All the time, right?
Right.
So when do I write? Like before I got into this Zoom, I wrote a few lines, and then after this Zoom, I'm gonna write. And I go to the bathroom, and then I come back and write. I have a desk in my minivan here. There's a table in the back, so I can write in the car too.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so I can write anywhere.
Anywhere, it's just like how we breathe. Every time you think, you just start writing and put it down.
Yes. And when I take a walk, I usually carry this my friend, and then I talk to with the earpiece, and it just comes out in writing.
Wow. So you're really writing all the time. It's crazy.
Yes.
I love it.
Yeah. I cannot stop. It's so much fun. So right after this, I'm going to write a few lines on my experiences with you in Bombay, and also my memories of my father when he used to take me to Indian food, and that's why I came to love Indian food. And so one day I want to go to India. So it's a short essay I'm going to write.
Interesting. Ken, you must come. You'd actually have a super fun time here.
Yeah, so I love to do that after everything is more calmed down. Because I want to live there at least for a couple of weeks or something. And India is such a big country, beautiful country. So I want to start from the north and the south. Because Gandhi was my secret hero. So I want to walk the path of salt the way he did. So that's my dream.
Wow, I love it. You must definitely come. That's going to be a superb trip for you. Ken, thank you so much for being a part of the Habit Coach podcast and coming. It has been a true honor. And I can't thank you enough for saying yes and coming on it. It's made me so happy.
Thank you, Ashdin. And thank you so much. You are such a generous, warm person. I can feel why you're so successful and loved by so many people. So it is my honor to meet you in person this way virtually. I am thanking to the technology this is possible. So I'm thanking all the staff people behind the scene and all the listeners and viewers. I'm wishing you all the happiness and happy money for all of you. So thank you and have a great life.
Thank you. And I hopefully see you in India very, very soon.
Right.
Or me in Japan, one of the two.
That's right.
That as well.
Yeah, go to onsen.
Yeah, go to onsen. Exactly.
Right. Thank you, everybody.
Lovely.
Thank you.
All right. So that was Ken Honda, and we were sharing about the emotions that are associated when you think about money and finance. It's such an important aspect. Join us for the next episode as well, because here we deep dive into his book on happy money, to his philosophy and how he learned about it. If you like this podcast, don't forget to check out other interesting podcasts on the IVM network. You can listen to us on the IVM Podcast app or ivmpodcast.com. You can also follow us on social media. We are at IVM Podcasts on Twitter and Instagram. If you want to reach out to me, I am Ashdin Doc on Twitter and Instagram. You can find lots more information on my website, awesome180.com, or check out different content on my YouTube channel called AWESOME180. That's Awesome 180.
IVM.